Hello and welcome back to PECO TV. Today we're taking a closer look at one of the lesser known types of rail sleeper on the British network, which is often completely forgotten by the modeller. The SL104F steel sleepers has been in production for some time and is part of the existing Code 75 range. Recently we looked at concrete and wooden sleepers, but this time we're taking a closer look at the use of steel sleepers on the network, and they're a lot more common than you would ever imagine. So let's take a deep dive into exactly why you should be modelling steel sleepers and where to place them on your model railway. But to do that, you must understand where and why they are used on the network. So let's take a look at the information provided by Network Rail. There are 3,238 kilometres of steel sleepers in the United Kingdom, and this is only on running lines. It does not include sidings and yards. Within a few years, steel sleepers will be in greater numbers than timber sleepers on our network. So where do you find them? They can be found in all manners of situations across the whole of the country, but there are a few concentrated areas like the central Welsh lines and the southwest on lesser used, quieter lines. They are not used everywhere. This is because they are incompatible with electrification and they are less resilient to heavy axle loads and intensive traffic. Why are they in use? They are cheaper for installation. Steel sleepers are shallower than their concrete counterparts, and this means that they can be laid on existing ballast without extensive excavations and are suitable for use in areas where the ballast is very thin. They provide a suitable track solution in less than perfect ballast conditions, and the material handling costs are less due to lightness. They are not susceptible to rot like timber, and they corrode relatively slowly. And this means their overall maintenance requirements are quite low and allow Network Rail to use more modern remote inspection techniques. Their lifespan is mainly driven by corrosion, so depending on location, i.e. well drained inland versus the coastline, they have a lifespan of up to 75 years, which is quite significant. In a recent film, I visited the China Clay Railway in Cornwall, announcing the release of the CDA wagons in N scale, and I spotted the steel sleepers over the bridge at Golant. It's important to note that many low-weight bridges across the United Kingdom use these type of sleepers to reduce the overall impact of weight on running lines. So wherever the ballast is very thin, you could see steel sleepers. So now we know where we can place the steel sleepers on a layout, and it's worth pointing out they work in conjunction with both wooden and concrete sleepers. So it's alright to use a mixture of all three on your layout. In fact, it's more prototypical to use a mixture of sleepers in the correct places on your layout. We've manufactured the SL104F steel sleepers in a light brown colour to replicate the rusty appearance of the sleeper. But having looked more closely, I'm going to show you how to improve the look even further. I start off by selecting a dark rusty colour for my sleepers that would also match the colour of the side of the rail. There's a great range of different paints by different manufacturers, which could be sprayed or hand painted, both in enamel and acrylics. However, for ease of use, I'm going to use the Helford's Camouflage Ultra Matte Brown spray paint. I make sure I cover all the sleeper and the rail when applying the paint. Then I leave it to dry. Next I attach it to the track bed or onto the layout. The ballast I'm applying is the PECO Scenes weathered brown fine graded ballast, and I'm fixing it in place with watered down PVA glue. Then I leave it overnight to dry. When the glue has thoroughly dried, it's time to weather the ballast. I'm using the PECO Scenes PS360 Brake Dust and Rust and the PS365 Road Surface to dirty and clog up my ballast. I apply them with a soft fluffy brush. When I'm happy with the amount, I then fix it in place using a cheap hairspray and saturate the trackbed. Again, I then leave it to dry thoroughly. Next I take the Vallejo wash, dark rust, and with a large paintbrush paint over the top of the rails and each of the sleepers to stain the ballast, a rusty colour like this. Once it's dried, this gives a very effective and convincing look. Of course, you can use a range of different colour rusts to create the different effects, but I'm very happy with the overall look and finish. Now, by understanding the information that has been shared with us by Network Rail, all the areas that have very thin ballast and a weight limit could be using steel sleepers, if axle loading isn't too high. So the heritage line that runs across my viaduct is perfect location to use this type of sleeper. And I think you'll agree it looks a lot better for taking the extra time and effort to enhance these unique types of sleepers. As you can see, we have a very convincing look, and these important, less well-known sleepers are absolutely necessary for the modern railway. And even though they were introduced to the British railway network back in the 1930s by the Great Western Railway, these sleepers shouldn't be overlooked by the modeller. So, until the next time, happy modelling!
Thank you.